Hi everyone, Lewis here. This is a different sort of podcast that I'm bringing you today because it's not just about retro gaming, but it's about Japanese culture. And that's why I thought it might be interesting for y'all. So my guest today, who's coming up in a moment, is Meshida. He's a Japanese comedian and he's devoted himself to do his act in English. And I saw his show. He does his hour show like once or twice a week, usually at non-holiday schedule. And I really liked it. And he spent some time in the UK. He was working on his act there. He's been back here in Japan. And this is going to be a podcast about that intersection of Western culture and Japanese culture, about he's bringing authentic, real stand-up comedy. And now you might be like, what does real stand-up comedy mean? Well, not every country has it. Not every country has this culture of some idiot can stand on a stage and just tell his thoughts and make a joke and sometimes be off the cuff and be real and then sometimes be silly. What we know as stand-up comedy is new to a lot of countries, and that's been my job for the last 12 more years in Estonia. I've been bringing stand-up comedy to Estonia. And how does that work with the culture? How does it work with the language? How do people get into it? How do they realize like, oh, it's not the theater and it's not just slapstick. It's something else. It's something new. So I'm fascinated to see how Meshida has bringing this to Japan and that he's focusing on doing his act in English as well. So he's coming in just a moment. I'm a bit off the face of the planet. I passed out hard earlier on I had a little nap, and I woke up from such a deep sleep. I was like, am I in Tokyo? Wait, where? One of those sleeps. So I'm still not quite on the face of the planet right now. He's coming any moment. We're going to have a little talk about that. How does Japanese culture mix with Western culture, and what has been his experiences to bring authentic stand-up comedy to Japan? So thanks very much for watching. Let's get into it. This is Meshida. I'm here in the Airbnb love nest with Meshida, Japanese stand-up comedian. Thank you very much for coming here.
Yeah, thank you very much, for inviting me. So I'm Meshida. I believe I'm a Japanese stand-up comedian.
Yes, that's why I wanted to talk with you.
Yeah.
Because you're doing that authentic style of stand-up comedy or Western style of stand-up comedy, but adapting it to Japanese culture. It has to... And this is what I want the point of our conversation today is what is stand-up comedy? How does it relate to different culture?
Yeah.
And it's hard to define the stand-up comedy because we kind of know what it is, but when you start to list it out, maybe the older style of Japanese comedy, it sounds like stand-up, but it's not stand-up. And we're going to try and define that and just talk about this anyway.
But anyway, recently some Japanese comedians try to do comedy in Japanese.
Okay, yeah.
Because now we can watch like Netflix, Amazon Prime, but very underground. Usually Japanese people don't know what is a stand-up comedy. We don't have the word stand-up comedy.
Okay.
Maybe in Japanese we say mandan. Mandan is like a comedy form, like one comedian talk on the stage. We call it mandan. But mandan is a little bit different from stand-up. Mandan is more like a comedian's more character.
Okay, right.
Character,
Which is the hard thing to define about stand-up, because sometimes a stand-up comedian is a character.
Yeah.
And we're all sometimes a little character of ourselves
on
the stage as well. So this is why it's so tricky to define what is stand-up comedy when we're trying to bring it to Japan. So it's... Okay, so this Mandan. Is it they write their own material?
It depends. Basically, comedian write their joke by themselves.
That's a good start. That's Is there... And these people that do it, is there a live scene, or how would they start doing this? How do you begin...
Okay. So
that style?
I told this maybe on my comedy show. So in Japan, if you want to be a successful comedian, you should go to comedy school. All Japanese famous comedy agency have a comedy school. It's a business, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you should go to. You should you should choose your favorite kind of like agency. It depends on your favorite talent belong to.
Okay.
Then you go there for 1 year to learn basically like the how to behave as a comedian, because our comedy industry has a strong seniority system. We have to respect senior comedians, so we have to learn, and then of course we have to learn kind of rules of the comedy industry. And some of my friends went to there, and they said in their first class they learned the 3 important rules. No political jokes, no controversial jokes, no sex jokes. But after you became famous, you can talk about sex, or sometimes political jokes. It
Once you're
depends on-
famous,
once you're famous. But on the way to become famous, I think it will be a big risk to talk about that, Yeah. So that's why just do life jokes. So actually in Japan, all comedians do life joke, kind of.
Like life joke, just talking about themselves, everyday stuff, typical things.
Like a people.
Right, the people,
Yeah. Because, in Japan, 98% of the population is Japanese. We don't know about like a Christianity.
Sure.
Like black people, white people, because we call foreigners or gaijin. It's a gaijin culture.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference because only like Japanese people living here, and then Japanese people can understand Japanese comedy. So that's why we just talk about life in Japan.
And that's okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
that's
That's what
normal,
it should be.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
comedy
yeah.
should reflect society and
Yeah,
should
yeah, yeah,
reflect what
yeah.
people are thinking.
Yeah.
But it's, I think it's a bit weird if anyone knows the Western style of stand-up comedy. You go to a shitty open mic for
Yeah.
years. You do your 5 minutes. You grind away
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
write
yeah.
one-liners or jokes.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
maybe you get 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then
Yeah,
all of a
yeah,
sudden
yeah.
you're an opener.
Yeah.
It's revolving around building yourself up
Yeah.
in a live scene.
Yeah.
Where this comedy agency thing is like, it's a very weird idea to say like, oh, I'm going to be signed straight away.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the manager is going to guide my career and, well, control it, I guess.
Yeah,
like they're going to control.
Yeah.
And only later, when you're very, very famous down the line, can
Yeah.
you have the control back. That's really different style.
Yeah, it's very different. So, but actually, like a big agency have a lot of comedy theater, and young comedians have opportunity to perform there. It means like a very high competition, Yeah. So, yeah, we don't have a comedy bar culture. We only have a comedy theater.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one big difference. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a comedy theater. So if there's the show on, would it be a collection of comedians? So let's say you were with the agency, right? Is it straight away your hour? Or are you doing the opening spot for 20 minutes for some other famous guy and it's that agency show and you like that agent, so you book?
Actually, the agency organized a show for young comedians, like a beginner comedians. Each comedian has just like 3 minutes, 2 minutes perform.
Wow.
Yeah. In Japan, comedy duo is very popular.
Okay.
Yeah, we call it manzai. And then at the end of the year, actually like a week ago, we had a big competition. So the final. Every year, the end of the year, the final manzai competition, like a broadcast on the TV shows. And this year, 7,500 comedy duo group joined. And only 9 group could perform on the final, on the TV shows. That's a comedian's first goal. If you go to their semi-final or final, you have a chance to be famous. And you have a opportunity to perform on the TV shows. But only final was broadcasted on the TV shows. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Which.
So yeah, comedy duo. Then even though it's a comedy duo final, each comedian has only 4 minutes.
4 minutes. I mean,
4 minutes.
I mean, I like tight sets. Don't get me wrong. I believe that you should do tight. But wow, if you're doing 2 minutes, 3
maybe
minutes,
4 or
4
5 minutes, I forgot. But 4 or 5 minutes difference.
something like
And
that.
then
Okay.
How can I say in English, like before, like final, before final,
Semi-final.
semi-final, or like before, just 3 minutes.
Okay, just 3 minutes. So you've got
Yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah, because 7,000 groups, join.
Yeah, right. Okay. And look, I understand that.
Yeah.
Look, when I'm promoting my comedy shows in Estonia, I tell the young comedians 5 minutes, no more. And that's not because I want to be a dickhead, but because I think it's good to keep to 5 minutes. It helps you be tight and, you cut out the crap and all of that. But this is a new level of, like, it's not built. It sounds like that's not when I tell my comedians
Yeah.
5 minutes,
Yeah.
it's because I want them to do a tight set.
Yeah.
When you're a young comedian, you blah 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 too much, da da da, and that makes you that.
Yeah.
But this sounds like it's 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes, because TV is short and there's
Yeah.
production reason, not
Yeah.
artistic reason around doing a short set.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So first of all, there's not this culture of comedy clubs that we may know in the UK.
We have a comedy theater.
Comedy theater, yeah.
Actually, in Osaka, there is one big theater, Namba Grand Kagetsu. It's organized by Yoshimoto Agency.
Okay.
Yeah, many tourists go there.
How many seats is that theater?
Yeah, I think 2,000 or something like that. 3,000. It's a big theater. I think. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
Dude, that's bigger than the biggest theater in Estonia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Estonia, where I present the artists, it's 1,800.
Yeah, really?
So that's fucking huge. Like, again, we're looking at the difference that somehow the Japanese comedians are, you get signed, and all of a sudden you're doing 2,000 seats. And all of this, and there's not this culture of doing the club for 50 people, the club for 10 people, and then building yourself up, or 100 people, 150 people. It's straight into 2,000.
Because the big difference is all kind of theaters organized by agency. Yeah, in Tokyo, we have some big theater. The Yoshimoto Agency is the biggest agency in Japan. And then I think I can say like almost all good comedians belong to Yoshimoto Agency.
Okay,
it's the biggest. That's why there are many theaters in big cities, and then every day they have shows because there are many comedians there or talent. Yeah. So and one big difference between Western comedian and Japanese comedian. So actually, Western stand-up comedian, even though they became famous, they keep performing as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I mean, most of Japanese comedians, when they become famous, they become more talent, just for perform for TV shows. They stop performing like live shows. Because that depends on comedians, but their goal is to be famous. And there we have many variety show talk shows. They want to be just like a, how can I say, talent? How can I say in English?
Yeah, it's correct.
Celebrity
Like, it's a
talent.
correct term. It's just a talent.
Like talk shows, game shows.
Now you're that person on that channel, and all of a sudden, you're on the game show, the talk show, the different thing. Right, where in the West, it's like you'll still see Dave Chappelle drop into the shitty 30 people club and do a set. And that's what he... And I bet when you talk to Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle, they want to do that. They want to show up and just...
That's their main like a reason why they become comedian.
Yeah.
Like have a show on Netflix or Amazon Prime. But here in Japan, just few comedians, even though after they became famous, they keep performing on the live shows. But usually they stop performing. They focus on being a host or like a kind of talent.
Right. Yeah. I guess so, because if you rise up, because like it sounds like the way what you've described, that Japan's Got Talent. It's a talent show, right? It's a
I can say that. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
So okay, we know who goes to these talent shows? People who want to be famous. People who, or that's the style. We have this culture in Western stand-up comedy. We like to grind it away. We want to go to the small club. We want to practice. I think a real stand-up comedian feels bad to do the new joke at the big room for 2,000 seats. No, I want to grind away at 20 seats, 50 seats, 100 seats over and over, get that set down. Then maybe at the, do the bigger theater and then go forward. It's a very different mindset.
Yeah, because usually Western comedians start performing in a small open mic. And then if you are good, some other good comedians invite you or, the big show. And then when you become a good comedian, I think you contract with agency. But in
later,
Japan, usually first we have to choose agency, this agency. Then actually after 1 year, first I told you guys go to comedy school. After 1 year, so for example, one of the I told you Yoshimoto big agency. Every year not only in Tokyo, Osaka, Okinawa, all big city have a Yoshimoto school, comedy school. I think every year 700 or 800. I think almost 1,000 sometimes. joined comedy school. But end of the year, I think just 30% or 20%, like how can I say, stayed. I mean, 70% left.
Like drop out or just leave.
Drop out. Yeah. It's a high competition. That's why it's just for business.
Yeah. So I'm interested in this idea of the comedy school.
Yeah.
It sounds a little bit like the military. I sign up, I do the boot camp. I go through the boot camp for a year. It's like the Navy SEALs. If I'm still there, maybe you drop out, and at the end of the year, maybe you get to go to a real thing later.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have to pay to go to this school?
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
And this is the business part. The agency is making money.
Business part. One of my friends recently went to one of the big comedy agencies school. He paid 60万 is like 50,000 yen?
50,000 yen.
$50,000. No.
Wait, which currency?
I'm not good at math, Sorry, baby. I Google it.
Yeah. I forget as well with yen and currency.
This part, Yeah.
When I'm talking, when I'm writing on the internet, I just say bucks. And bucks it just sort of is a generic Western currency. It could be euros, it could be American dollars.
Yeah.
I just say, well, it's $50.
Yeah. Wait. But now it's always yen is very cheap now.
Okay.
I think it's like maybe though I think $5,000.
$5,000.
$5,000.
Okay, so he has to pay
$5,000 to $6,000.
$5,000, $6,000, and do you have to pay that up front, like straight away?
Yeah, first you have to pay.
Dang, because every stand-up comedian I know is a broke piece of shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't have $5,000.
And I told you guys, in our comedy industry, there's a strong high seniority, how can I say, strict seniority system.
Right. Okay.
For example, I used to be a typical Japanese employee. When I was 27, I quit my job. I went to the UK to do comedy. But if I wanted to be a Japanese comedian, and then when I 21 years old, I quit my job. I went to comedy school. Okay, so then many young people, usually like young people, comedy school, like a 20, 19, 18. The most important thing is like how long you have been a comedian. Then for example, if you go to the school this year, so you start your career this year.
Okay, that's zero. That's point.
Zero.
That's day
Even
zero.
though you're 50, you're at zero.
That's day zero.
I'm 27. For example, one 18 or 19 years guy actually graduated from comedy school before me last year, for example. So they are my senpai, senior. I have to respect him.
Okay.
I worked 5 years. I'm 27. But if like an 18 or 19 years guy, he graduated from like last year.
Yeah.
They are my senpai, senior. I have to, how can I say? I have to speak Japanese very polite way. We Japanese change all like a expression when we talk to all the people. It's a show respect.
Right.
So I have to show respect to fucking young guys,
That's so interesting. And that is a stereotype that we have, or maybe truth about Japanese culture, that you respect the seniority. You spoke about that in some of your sketches, that that always it's hard to progress in Japanese company because senior guy is always there. If you wait, if you're at the company for 20 years, then you get promoted. And that's so weird to feel that in comedy, because that's what we love about comedy is that any, like, if you're good at it, right? You can't just be an idiot. But if you're good at it, and if you're Daniel Sloss, and you're some young piece of shit coming along when you're 18, but turns out you're super fucking talented, and you're very good, well then, okay. But that's not. It's still and that's that's a weird clash, because there's art, and then there's the seniority or whatever it is, the system. Maybe.
Yeah, I told you one of my friends went to comedy school this year. He's like a 35 years old. Okay? I'm 34, he's 35 years old. And he said, even though like a 19, 20 years young guy, he he needed to show his respect.
Right.
どうもこんにちは, you know, ありがとうございます. And he said, actually, like in the class, first class, he learned how to say hi to your senior, you know, before he perform, you know.
The first thing they do in the comedy school is teach you respect
yeah.
for your elders.
Yeah, for example, comedy school organize like a showcase sometimes for like a student, and usually like a graduated student, like you know, the year 2 years, you know, after graduated, they are like doing MC, you know, MC. That's why all student or young comedians or student before they perform one. So first, when they arrive at there, they have to visit their like MC or senpai, senior, and then say, konnichiwa, my name is blah blah blah. Today I will perform maybe number 3, something like that. Please onegaishimasu, something like that, you know. If you didn't do that, MC got angry. What the fuck, you know? You performed tonight. Did you come to our room, you know, say hi?
Yeah.
Fuck you, you know, something like that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And that, this reflect, and that's why it's just because it sounds like, and I don't mean rude, but it sounds like, I mean, I believe you, right? It sounds like the stereotype of what we know about Japanese culture.
Yeah.
It's respect the elders, respect seniority, but then that's the conflict here is that's opposite to what we know of piece of shit comedians being independent. What Western stand-up is independence. I do my own thing. I mean, I wouldn't go into the club and tell the MC he's a piece of shit. No, I wouldn't. But I don't have to go and bow and do that either. I just have to, you know, maybe sit in the corner, or be polite. Hey, thanks. Hey, thanks, man. You know, good. Thank you very much. You know, I just have to do that. And okay, and then it's really about how good you are on the stage. You know, if you're good on the stage, then okay, then you're gonna get respect from the because how to say.
Anyway, actually, like of course, like their skills, you know,
sure,
their comedy skills is very important. But our industry, it's also very important to how to build a good relation with seniors.
Okay.
Yeah, if you are good comedians, like famous, our well-known comedians, or junior, konnichiwa. And then it's important to go drinking together.
Okay.
And then famous comedians say TV show, I actually last week I went to drinking with my junior, this comedian, and the TV producer okay. And then, I mean, like a senior comedian ask a TV producer to use him or something like that. That's why relationship is very, very important, you know? Yeah.
Now that part, now this is the interesting part because it's not all black and white. It's not, because when you start to talk about that, now this starts to sound more like something I can relate to. Sure, this happens, right? I'm a young comedian, but maybe I hang out with the comedians in the backstage. If I'm not a dickhead and I don't have to like suck up, but if I'm just a funny guy, I'm not an idiot, and we have some drinks, then maybe the more the more experienced comedian says, hey, you know, I liked your set tonight, you're not an idiot, why don't you come do some shows with me? So that part I can relate to, right? There is networking there again, but like what is the
network same but a little bit different, because more go drinking with senior is one of the very important part for young comedians. It's the same, but
is that there's the stereotype that we hear that if you're the salary man in Japan, you've got to go drinking with your boss.
Same.
It's the same
it's
idea,
like
right?
Work, you know. If you are senpai means senior, ask you go out. Usually young comedians go, you know.
Okay.
If you refuse or you don't go, it's very rude. Something like that, you know. Right.
Where in the West, it may not be rude. Like, hey, you want to come drinking with us? Nah, man, I'm going to go home and get some sleep. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you know, it's not
kind
like...
of same, you know.
But it's not rude. It's just like, okay, you may not get the opportunity. You may not network. You may not get that, but it's not rude if you don't go out with them afterwards. This is...
And actually, when we watch talk shows,
Yeah.
we Japanese know, all comedians, which comedian is senior or junior. Usually, comedians sometimes use it, They're like a situation. Young comedians say rude things to senior person in a funny way. So, that's why sometimes foreigners, it's quite difficult to understand Japanese comedy because they don't know the like a background, like a senior, junior, something like that, So yeah, at some point, I don't like that culture, but when I watch comedy show, they use their situation, senior, junior things. So and it makes more funny, Yeah.
Okay, so there's a context, there's a social sure, right?
Yeah.
I can imagine that as well. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's that's typically how comedy starts, but you're doing it a little bit different. So let's go back. Let's switch for a moment.
Yeah.
And so you did a year in the United Kingdom, right? So you gave up the job. You said you were like salary man or working in the company, and you said, "Fuck this," and I'm gonna go do it in United Kingdom.
Yeah.
What was that first inspiration to say not? And because so you're like, I don't like the salary job. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
But you didn't go and spend $5,000 to go to comedy school.
Yeah.
You said, I'm going to go to London and do... Why was that? What made you go to London rather than try and be a comedian in Japan?
When I was a university student, I wanted to be a comedy writer or Japanese comedian. So once I thought maybe I would go to kind of like a comedy school. But at that time, I started learning speaking English, Then since when I was a kid, I love comedy. Then I found like my British teacher recommended me to watch foreign comedy, like British comedy or American comedy. Then I realized I really love it, like sarcastic jokes or political jokes.
Okay.
I mean, like in Japan, I told you guys like mainly comedians do life jokes. I was so impressed, they make fun of everything. Like at that time, like disabled people, you're like kind of gay, lesbian, or kind of religion, everything. Like then I decided to do comedy in English. Yeah. But I didn't have money at that time. So once I started working, But since when I started working, I thought I wanted to do comedy in the future. Yeah. But I couldn't quit my job 5 years. Yeah, because some point I really enjoyed weekends. Only weekends. Drink a lot, and I couldn't save money. Yeah.
So you enjoyed the job, right?
No, not job. Weekends.
A weekend?
Weekends. Weekday I have to work.
Oh, okay. But you like that other time, right? So you...
Because after working, Friday night, go drinking.
Okay.
Went drinking with my friends, and then went to party. I spent a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I couldn't save money,
Right. Okay.
That's why. And of course, I didn't have a courage to quit my job. Because once you started working, the salaryman world, employee world is my world. So I felt like it was a big risk to quit my job,
So was it socially easier for you to quit the job and then also go to London? Because then, why did Meshida quit the job? Well, he's going overseas. He's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, was it easier for you because you knew that you were going to a foreign place?
Yeah.
And...
I actually at that time, I didn't think so deeply, I just quit my job, I still like a 26 or 27.
Okay.
I'm still 20. Let's do it, Yeah. Now, sometimes I think, why I quit my job, At that time I had energy,
Sure.
Yeah, I cannot explain why I could do that, But I love comedy. And I love British humor, and that's why. And one thing I thought, like I realized, if I would continue working this company, my life would be shit.
Right.
But if I quit my job, and if I would be a comedian, my life would be shit. anyway, my life is shit, you know.
Either way, it's shit.
Yeah. So maybe it's good, you know, do how can I say what I really want to do and then be shit. Then now I'm shit.
I think that's something many comedians would relate to all around the world. Doesn't matter. Well, if it's going to be fucked, I may as well be standing on the stage. If I'm going to be poor, I may as well be doing what I want, being poor and doing it. I have that a bit. Because, I was like you. I had a job in IT. I was a programmer. And then I gave up that job as well. And eventually I ended up in Estonia doing comedy. And my parents
Your career is very interesting.
My parents are going, what? Why are you? And my parents were like, we're not going to give you money because you should have been working in the IT job earning your own money. And I'm like, but I'm a poor stand-up comedian. Yes, but you didn't have to be a poor stand-up comedian.
But in your case, your parents know what is stand-up comedy. My parents don't know what is stand-up comedy. And then they cannot understand English. For me, it's good, you know. Yeah, because they cannot understand. I can talk anything, you know, I want, you know, sex or disgusting jokes.
They don't know.
Actually, like now, some Japanese comedians start performing English like me, and they all say, when we speak English, it's easier to express directly something, you know, easier to talk about sex. My female Japanese comedian, her reliable joke is like an anal joke, you know. She always talk about sex, you know? But when I speak with her in Japanese, she's totally different, you know. She's not that kind of person. But she said when she speak English, I think she said like she can talk about sex because it's second language. That's like I really enjoy because when I speak English, I'm a kind of different person. Compared to when I speak Japanese. I can enjoy, how can I say, Western Meshida, you know. Western
and that's interesting that, and that's what I've been dealing with for 10 years now, this, what do you like in one language? What do you like in the other? And then what I've discovered in Estonia is slowly they can be merged. Slowly.
Oh, really?
But it takes time. I think that Estonia is a very small country. They're very open to Western ideas. It's not kind of like how Japan is. So the Estonian people were able to get it in, the last 5 years, they really got it. What this is, right? Where I know it'll take Japanese, it's a big country and there's many things, so it'll take a little longer. And I think it's that merging, like you want that freedom, that you speak in English. You want to eventually get that in Japanese. And I think they can merge, but it takes longer. It's going to take longer in Japan. I can see my Estonian guys have already started to do that. They don't give a fuck anymore.
But what is the language like between Estonia and English? Very different?
Completely different.
Grammar is also different.
Grammar is completely different. Almost no similarities there.
When it comes to language, I think Japanese language is, compared to English, it's quite difficult to make jokes. We don't have a joke culture. Our language is like suitable for like interactive jokes. I think so.
Is that okay? Because many people, I'm gonna pick on you on this one, or go. I want to understand this. Because in the beginning, 10 years ago, when we were doing the comedy in Estonia, I would have Estonian people come up to me and tell me, Lewis, you can't be funny in Estonian. And I'd be like, yeah, I think you can. I just saw these comedians be funny. And that was a weird reverse racism moment because I'm defending Estonia. There was the Estonians telling me they couldn't do it. And that's a cultural thing. And I would say, and I would say, well, first of all, I just heard that guy be funny. I heard the fucking laughter. So I know.
At that time, he performed in Estonia or English?
We were mixing. Some shows English, some shows Estonian.
But actually, like at that time, you didn't know any Estonian language, but you thought he's funny.
Well, I can hear the laughter.
Like a reaction.
Yeah. That's the other part. As my manager, I'm their manager, but I don't speak Estonian fluently or very well. But it's helped me over the years because I can tell when someone's funny. I can tell after 10 years of this, I can tell if you're funny by talking to you for 5 minutes, right? I can tell if you're a real comedian or you're just a pretender or whatever in like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But it takes a long time.
Yeah.
First of all, I can hear the laughter. Number one, his audience laughing. I can hear the rhythm. I can hear what you're doing. If I talk to you, I ask you a couple questions about how you see comedy. I can get your ideas.
Yeah.
Do you have it straight? And it's helped me because if I encounter a new Estonian stand-up comedian, I can't understand their words, but that means I focus on everything else because an act is not just words. It's character, it's presence, it's so many things. And I look at all of that instead, and it means I can't hate them. Like sometimes you just see a comedian and you're like, I fucking hate this guy. Oh my God, I can't do that because I don't, so I can be more objective with helping them. Wait, what were we talking about here? So the culture, right? I wanted to know when you say that it's harder to be funny in Japanese, is that cultural or is that grammar?
Both. Because first of all, we don't have a joke culture. That's the one big difference is when I went to the UK and the US, everyone have opportunity to say jokes before. Because you guys have a joke culture. When you speak, in front of people in your school, sometimes people expect you to some jokes.
Right.
Then kind of like change that atmosphere. And then, so we don't have that culture. Yeah. That's why, for example, some Japanese people come to our show and then they can understand English, but them comedians say jokes. I think most Japanese people believe it. Oh, it's a joke.
Okay. All right.
For example, I say some such joke. It's usually comedians, say jokes. It's like half truth, half exaggerate a lot.
Yeah.
And then when they talk about racist jokes, it's a kind of like a joke. But 5%, 10% people think so, but it's a joke. But Japanese audience, always believe. Not everyone, but mainly all local foreign comedians make fun of it. Japanese audience always believe it, and then I see something like that. Yeah.
Okay, there is elements of that. Sure, I hear that. Was that true? Was that story true that you told? Or is that, sort of, but I exaggerated or sort of.
Yeah.
All right, so I can get you on the cultural thing.
Yeah.
Right, I understand culturally.
Yeah.
And this is where it was, it wasn't easier. I don't want to say it was easier in Estonia, but things progress because we're a country of 1 million people, right? So you can access people easily.
Yeah.
You can, if anything, it is a little bit opposite of, how to say, with so few people, there is a, like this, I'm going to back it up here.
Yeah.
This what you talked about with the talent show. And you go on the talent show and then all of a sudden you're famous.
Yeah.
You can do that in Estonia as well, right? It's pretty easy to do something and then all of a sudden you're in the magazine, all of a sudden you're in the front of the newspaper because you, I don't know, did some stupid shit or you did something. It's easy to get publicity off one thing, but it's harder to keep it going for a long time.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Right. So I know in Estonia, and that's what I've been trying to tell my comedians, that it's the long game we're worried about. Like, you don't just come along with your first hour, the first time you do it, you don't write to every newspaper saying this is the most amazing hour you've ever seen. You don't go on every talk show for your first hour. It's more important to do an hour than do the next one the next year. And the next one the next year. And consistency. It's very easy in Estonia to be in the news. But it's the real skill is to keep that going for many years.
Yeah.
To be consistent. The consistency is much more important than a fire and then it goes out, right?
Every year we have a Ippatsiya Geni. Ippatsiya means one-time comedian.
Okay, yeah.
Every year,
Right.
some comedian become very famous just 3 or 4 months and disappeared.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been telling them, don't worry about that, because I've noticed in Estonia that if you are just consistently good and you get better, sure, you got to be getting better, but it's important to be consistently good, then they will remember you and you'll have a career for life. If you can keep it going for a long time. So I work on them with that. Like, and I think it's a good lesson for the showbiz industry is don't chase the fame. Chase, is it a better hour? Write a good hour, then write a better hour. Then get better every year. Don't start a big fire when you're a rookie. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good lesson for them. And that's what I try and teach my comedians like this, right? Don't chase that. Don't be that way. That's why I was really digging into this the comedy school thing. Because it's
you're
like
an organizer now.
Yeah, I'm an organizer. You're starting a fire straight away.
Yeah, you try to find a good comedian and then make them famous. That's one of your job.
Right. To make them I don't want to make someone famous, like comedian of the year, like what you said, comedian of the 6 months, right? Even in artistically and business, it is better for me to have them grow over the years. To be a better comedian. And then, 5 years later when they're really big, great. Then I'm going to start making some money from you.
You can work with them.
Right, over that time.
How about making comedy school in Estonia for young people?
Well, we kind of did through our open mics. So if you come to our open mic, you can hang out, talk to comedians, and then, if you're okay, what I like about our open mics is if you're not a dickhead, you can come hang out. Don't be a dickhead. You don't have to be what was it, the sampai, like senior comedian. You don't have to be like this shit, right? But just don't be a dickhead. And it's okay. Okay, so I was talking about culturally, you've got to change Japan to accept this different style of comedy.
If I want to do that, maybe I'll do stand-up in Japanese, Now I'm interested in performing for foreign audience.
That's a different
foreign tourists, now. But I think in Japan, I think we have a chance just like a stand-up comedy will become popular. Because now there's some a atheist, writer, writing jokes or story like a stand-up style. But writing and speaking is a bit different. Writing, we can do that. Many good writer write sarcastic jokes or write something like a stand-up way.
Sure.
But when it comes to speaking on the stage or performing on the stage, not so many people.
Not so many.
But we talked before. Actually it's a simple, stand-up comedy become popular because only one charismatic comedian appeared.
Right.
And he or she will change everything. In South Korea, in China, now compared to Japan, stand-up comedy is getting popular in their own language, especially in China, even though they have strict rules or restrictions. Because I told, my Chinese friend told me, some few good comedians appeared, one Chinese woman, she's very good, and then she become popular. Then many young people knows and watch what is stand-up comedy, and then they started performing.
Right. Yeah, we spoke about this, and I was saying there's many unique things about why we've been successful in Estonia, and one of them is that the first guy to come along, me and a couple of foreign dudes were like, okay, we should do this. One of the first Estonians to come to me was this guy called Sander, and he was that guy almost straight away. I mean, not he still needed work, and he's worked on his act over the years. Absolutely, don't get me wrong, but the raw material for being that guy was there straight away. And so the combination of the foreigner, I was able to be... Estonians have a little thing where they're like, if an Estonian does it, they're skeptical. They're like, Estonian doesn't do it. But when a foreigner presented it, they were a little bit more open. But then next to me, and not just to be foreigners are good. Because then next to me, I had Sander, who is a real Estonian, presenting it in an Estonian way, and he's genuinely good, genuinely an amazing writer, genuinely a great performer. Our combination was able to push that forward. So I was super lucky that dude just dropped into my lap straight away. What I wanted to ask you, and I know you do English, I know I'm pushing the Japanese thing because I know you, but I want to ask you one more thing about, because one of the reasons that Sander, my guy, Sander Regis, was good, he is very close. He has a lot of friends in the rap community. And rap had already been in Estonian language for quite some time. And rap is really similar to stand-up.
Yeah, and now in Japan, rap is getting very popular.
Yeah, so let's compare.
Internet. That's why I think in Japan, I think we have a chance in stand-up comedy will be popular because now rap is very popular, like a roast battle.
I think rap has to get popular first, and then comedy follows that. But it's a similar idea. You're twisting language, you're changing it,
rhythm and the punchline.
All this,
I think like a rap use the word punchline.
Okay,
yeah. Here in Japan, you know.
Not punchline, but I understand what you mean. I mean, there's a style to rap. There's a way they want to rhyme a lot, so they're bending words, they're changing words, putting them in new, interesting word orders to make almost like poetry with the language, right?
Now, rap battle.
Okay,
it's very, very popular now. Maybe like, but that's 5 years.
But that's comedy. But I mean like straight rap. Like straight up rap. I don't mean comedy rap. I mean straight up, just rappers doing
like
music.
Battle. It's kind of half comedy, but it's a rap battle. It's
right? Yeah. I don't mean rap battle. I mean rappers.
Rappers.
Like real rappers doing real rap in Japanese language to music. So. How do you, to take a sidetrack, how do you see like real, genuine rap music in Japan and in Japanese language? Does it exist?
It exists, but it's popular, not very, very popular. Some people love it, you know. But some famous artists, you know, like release rap songs.
Right.
And then,
So you said a famous artist releases a rap song.
Yeah. It
sounds like the same thing like a famous person does comedy.
Yeah,
not like a young guy is just like, I want to be a comedian, I'll be a comedian. Like rap should be like comedy. Oh, it's some young guys in the underground club spitting rhymes, doing their thing underground and then building up.
Yeah.
It's really similar the way rap rises up from grassroots and comedy rises up.
Yeah.
So I guess my advice to, I don't know if Japanese people are watching this, is like look to rap and learn from that community how they built rap in Japanese language.
Yeah, definitely. But one big problem is like recently, I told you before, like some comedians kind of try to do comedy, stand-up comedy in Japanese.
Okay.
One of the comedians, he won the kind of comedy duo competition. Now he stopped performing as a duo comedian. He started performing as a stand-up comedian. The problem is those comedians are kind of like activist, you know. Activist, like talk about politics. Not it's funny, but very, very serious. It's like a demonstration, something like that. You know. Of course, they try to say jokes. It's funny, but for normal Japanese people, it's too much, you know. Because stand-up is like wearing like this and then talk about their shitty life. Then little bit punchline, use a one political joke and more casual. But now many Japanese comedians, when they do stand-up, they are really serious. Look at the politicians, it's a fucking shit, you know, blah 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 blah, you know. It's too much for normal Japanese people. So it
happens. I see that. I'm gonna, since you don't want the beer, I'm gonna take the beer.
Please, yeah.
Sure, I see that too.
Yeah.
Young comedians want to be George Carlin, or they want to be the older, respected stand-up comedian who, I don't know, is talking about social issues. And sure, I grew up watching that shit too, right? I mean, we all know I think George Carlin is the good example there, right? What a, you know, he's talked about the politics, talked about that. He's funny when he does it. But you can't do that straight away.
Yeah.
You've got to take time. And even if you're just coming, even if you're an experienced actor, you're an experienced comedian, George Carlin was old as shit. He was an old guy. Watch your most favorite George Carlin bits. He's old as shit. He's not, and now he was doing that, when he was younger, yes, but you need that time to get better at it. So I think it's not bad. I mean, people come to stand-up comedy, and it's a common criticism when stand-up is new in a country that it's like, well, the comedians just talk about dicks and sex and, real low, whatever, easy stuff. And true. Okay, I admit that. But that's what you do when you're a young comedian. You take, fine, no problems. Do that shit. It's okay. And then you get better throughout the years. You can get better at approaching those topics and doing that. You can't. The harder I say, the harder the joke is, like the harder the topic, the more intense the topic, the better the joke has to be. You can joke about anything with stand-up comedy. Yes. You can talk about, I don't know, Holocaust and killing millions of people. Sure,
nuclear
fine.
bombs, everything.
Sure, but you better have the best motherfucking joke to diffuse that. And I don't really like, what's her name? Do you know a comedian, Hannah Gatsby?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Australian.
I
watched her show in Edinburgh, live show.
Shit.
Before he became very, very popular. Yeah.
Now, I'm not a personal fan of Hannah Gatsby, but I respect what she does with the style of comedy. Hannah Gatsby does this thing where she's like intense, and she builds pressure, and it's so she's talking about it, and then she drops this amazing punchline. Which just diffuses the room and takes it all away. And that's her style. Build pressure, drop. And she can do it. Now, unless you can write an amazing fucking punchline, you can't do that. And that's what I think young comedians struggle with. No, we don't just want to, I want to talk about real shit. Sure, bro. Okay, man, but just learn to write a fucking joke first.
But funny thing is, in Japan, now middle-aged people, like kind of like stand-up more than young people.
That's so weird. That's the opposite of everywhere else. Usually it starts with the young people.
Because actually, like our media or some internet media, when they introduce stand-up comedy, focus on like a politics jokes or sarcastic jokes or like that's the stand-up comedy. Sure. Stand-up comedy is talk about sex, daily life.
Sure.
Same as like our comedy duo, talk about life jokes. But our media, the comedian or people who do stand-up comedy always say, stand-up comedy is a comedy platform, talk about political jokes. Usually we cannot say this on TV shows. Of course, it's okay. But they focus on that side. That's why young people are like, okay, it's a kind of, not sex, not like a daily life, just talk about kind of political things.
Dude, that's so interesting. But is that also because the main way that people are watching and consuming stand-up comedy is either in Japan is either the TV or the comedy theater. And if you've got a comedy scene where it's shitty comedy club, basements, 3 shows a night, London, New York style, then young people go. Then they're into that. We when we started the stand-up comedy in Estonia, it was that literal stereotype: basement, small bar, everybody's just standing, just like your room, right? That's why I love. I saw Meshida and we performed like 10 people in the room, and I said respect. I love it because that's where we started as well, right? We started like that, and we started in not even in the capital city. We started in the university town. So the university students, it's a Thursday night, they got nothing to do. And the university students were maybe a little bit more international. That's why it's so interesting. You said the old people are into stand-up. Because typically it's the young people who watch, the foreign shit.
Because I told you, it's a politics, kind of like, that's kind
so
of
when
things.
And then we were doing it for the university town and the university bar. And after some years, we were doing more and more. I actually understood that after 3, 4, 5 years, then our audience grew up. So the first people who were with us in the beginning, at the university bar getting drunk and doing that, well, they graduated university. They had a family, and then they still wanted to see us, but they wanted to come and see us in the theater. So we had to keep doing the university bar shows, like new students. But then there was this whole new generation who were like, we like you, but we've got to have car parking. We want to have a dinner. I've got to get a babysitter. And so then we started to do theaters as well eventually. So we had to progress with our audience as well. That's why that was interesting that, anyway,
because still, I told you, like, and there was we have big competition. That's a comedian's dream still, It's a little bit kind of old-fashioned because now we have a YouTube podcast. Look at the Western comedians. Some comedians don't care about main media. They focus on uploading video on YouTube or podcast. They try to their own community and then they just talk what they want to say. But here in Japan, still like many comedians dream to be a famous comedian on TV shows. But now, our kind of in TV world, there are many comedians, old comedians.
I like this idea. First of all, credit to you, my friend. Because your YouTube channel, this channel that this podcast will go out on, is usually about video games, right? It's usually about fucking video games, and we're talking about comedy. But I hope this is interesting. But of all my friends, of all my retro friends, and I know you don't know these people, but Steve, but Bob, but this guy has like 3 times as many subscribers as all you fucking retro fucks. Right? You've got 138, I saw. 138,000 subscribers.
I'm a YouTuber. I'm a low YouTuber. But,
but you've got 138,000 subscribers on YouTube. You've built yourself up.
Good thing is like all followers or subscribers are foreign guys, foreign people. No Japanese because I introduce Japanese culture in English. Japanglish. Anyway.
Actually, one of the things that with 1 million people in Estonia, there's many advantages and many disadvantages. And Japan is a big country with advantages. One of the advantages I found, it was really clear for me from the beginning that TV, we don't need TV. Now I understand, and even if you look at the geography, there's Estonia, 1 million people. And then just above is a country called Finland. Finland has 5 million people. Still, oh my God, it's still this... 5 million people is this block in Tokyo, right? This many, how many people? And that's a country, right? But even in 5 million people, the TV was still the way. Like, it doesn't take so many millions. The TV is still... So we had so few people in Estonia that it was really clear to me. I don't give a shit about Estonian television. And what we want to do is build our own independent channels.
It's great. Cool.
I just have to build up a YouTube channel for we've got, 30,000 on our Comedy Estonia. And that's fine for us, right? And that's enough to get to young people, to access them. They're not watching regular TV anyway. They're watching, and it was really clear. So one of the advantages of the small country, there's many disadvantages, but one advantage was super clear to me. Don't fucking bother about the television. Because the TV had nothing to offer us. We're here in Japan, they still have a lot of money to offer you, right?
The scene has been changed.
Okay.
Some young comedians focus on more YouTube. But still, majority, young comedians aim to, win the competition. And then,
And you can build, so it was really clear to me, you can just make your own channel, be independent. Because when we were just starting out in Estonia, and we were we had some opportunities to work with TV, and we got fucked over, and things straight away, because we was people liked us, but we didn't have enough credibility, and things we had a comedy special going to the television, and the producer was we were but we have to help you edit it. It's stand-up comedy. We need to have a say in how you edit it, right? And they were like, yeah, of course. And then the producer sent us back the edit 12 hours before it went to the air.
Really?
And we went, no, this is not a good edit. And he
Yeah,
went,
yeah.
well, it's 12 hours, so we can't change anything. And we
Yeah,
went,
yeah, yeah.
oh, okay, fuck you, buddy. So we learned the lesson even straight away. I learned that lesson, right? In Estonia, we needed to build ourselves up first, have our own independent channels, that the YouTube, the Instagram, the whatever, to build enough of that. Then when we have enough credibility, then we approach the television. And that's what now, 10 years later, we're able to go to the TV and say, we're going to do it this way. Now, I still understand it's TV. I still understand it's back and forth. We get it. But now we have more power in this. So a lot of those things were more clear to me because it was a small country where I understand if you're a young Japanese guy, you're like, oh, fucking TV show. Oh my God. Yes, whatever.
But young people, compared
now
to
they're getting it.
before,
Okay, now they're getting it. That's
they
cool.
watch YouTube or, kind of, Amazon Prime, Netflix. But when it comes to comedy, comedian, are kind of aim to win the competition. That's their goal, first goal,
So then there's you. And you said, you had that point of view and you said, no, I'll just make my own thing. I don't want to work within that system or or more that. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you looked at yourself and you said, what I want to do doesn't fit in that system. The system's fine, no problems, okay, respect, but I don't want to do that. So I've got to do, I got to do my own thing.
First of all, I know Japan has many population compared to European countries. But only can you say in English? Like a number of the Japanese population?
Oh,
100,
is it 120? Is it something?
It's something like that.
Something like 120 million. Something like this.
120 million. But if I perform in English, I can go everywhere, even like Indonesia or Spain, France, there's a community, people speak English and then enjoy English comedy. So I want to go traveling, and then performing. That's the reason why I started doing comedy in English. I remember when I went to the UK, when I was a university student, I saw the map in a language school. In Japan, our world map is, of course, Japan is center.
Of course,
we are the center.
It's normal,
That's why every time in the history class, when Western people called us Far East, we are like, what? Why we are so Far East? We are center. Fuck you, you guys are Far West, Fuck you. But when I went to the UK, what is this, Japan is like a Far East, and then like a shit, look like a shit of China, What? Oh my God, I'm living in this fucking small country. I know many Japanese people can speak English. We have many Japanese in population as a population. Yeah, but I mean, usually Japanese language only used in Japan.
Sure.
This
That's
fucking
normal.
small island.
Okay.
So then I realized, maybe I'll do this in English,
That's great because that is it was in small Estonia with 1 million. It's more clear sometimes. We gotta have to speak some English if we want to go international. But even Finland, and it doesn't take 120 million. It takes 5 million in Finland, and you can still have a good career, have a nice house, drive a nice BMW with just 5 million people. So I understand with 120 million people. Sure, of course, this is your world, right? But you said no. You had that desire. You had that fucking drive that I want to go and see the world. I want to perform to a lot of people.
And I like sarcastic joke, dark humor, and black humor. In Japan, it's quite difficult to do that, because audience don't know that culture. I become just a crazy comedian, underground crazy comedian, talk about shit,
So you did your year, you were in the UK for a year, you're doing comedy, seeing how that is, and then eventually you come back to Japan and you realize, okay, I still want to do English, I like this.
No,
How did this go?
Before I went to the UK, I decided my first goal was, is to organize a big stand-up comedy show in Tokyo for foreign tourists. Because now before this pandemic, our government tried to expand our inbound business, like tourism. So I found a French guy. He is he's in Paris and he's a French, but he organized a show in English and they introduced his shows. He organized his own comedy show. His comedy show and
In Paris, which show was that? I know that.
How to Become a Parisian in 1 hour.
What was his name?
I forgot his name, but you can Google it. We have a Google it.
I was going to say, because I know a bunch of comedians in the scene in Paris.
It's good because every weekend he organized a show before this pandemic in a big, I think the 1,000 theater, capacity theater, and then of course the Paris, and then famous street, Champs-Élysées Street. There is a kind of good theater, and then every weekend he performed there. Introduce what is a Parisian.
Sure.
Yeah, I went to his show. I watched his show. It's great, But good things his audience are all foreign tourists. Okay, every day, audience change. So you mean every night I can do same jokes, 10 years.
These fucking losers don't know shit. These new idiots. More fresh meat in the door. No, I get you. I understand.
Then I can make a different type of shows, family-friendly shows, like hentai night shows, introduce Japanese sexual culture. Okay, I can do business, and then maybe if I can make a team comedy agency, I can ask other comedians, and then because I already have a script, just please remember it, and then just a little bit RNG, something like that. Then if I can make a kind of basement or scene, I can go traveling,
Right.
I just do what I really want to do in other countries,
I understand that. I felt that when I was growing my stand-up career. It felt like a very romantic idea in my mind that I can travel with nothing but this microphone. Before I really knew a lot about stand-up, I thought I'll just travel with my microphone. That's all I need. Just me and the microphone. It's not. There's a little bit of truth to that, but I get it. Right, that's all you need. You just need this microphone and your words. And you can go somewhere.
And at the same time, of course, I love Japanese language because my major was kind of literature, Japanese literature. I like writing, I really want to share, how I become a stand-up comedian in English, and then I want to write it. Now I'm writing, it's like a story, because there are many, how can I say, weird things happens, So I can get money from English and Japanese both,
Sure.
So maybe,
So that's interesting. So Tokyo has enough foreign tourists and enough visitors coming through that you can make this show that's semi, regular a few times a week and do this show for them. I've tried sometimes to access tourists, and again, I work in countries with small populations, so it doesn't work. Right. But whenever I've tried to access tourists, the first thing that hits me is tourists are good, but they're not repeat audience.
That's amazing.
Okay, that's a good part for you.
Because every day I have to change my joke. That's very tough. You're a comedian. Make a good joke is very, very tough. Very difficult. So, but I mean, first, that's my first goal. But next, I want to go abroad and perform, and then using my shitty English skills, and use my Japanese perspective and make fun of other countries' culture.
Sure.
Because our Japanese perspective, is totally different from Western people. For Western people, my kind of jokes or sense of humor or point is totally different. So, for example, why Western people still have sex? Come on, guys, something like that.
Sure.
Usually, Western people make fun of us like a Japanese, a sexless problem, shy, nose hug, something like that. I can make fun of it in a different way. Why? You guys are hugging, kissing. It's fucking dirty, We have a fucking dirty bacteria in my mouth, Are you crazy? Something like that.
Just go to the Love Hotel for 20 minutes and then you're done. Then you get on with your day, right? Why waste all this time with the hugging and the romance?
It's a joke, but it's totally different because you guys think it's Japanese are weird. It's weird, but for us, it's very normal. That's why I can make fun of it, and then it's very different from like Western thought. Yeah. That's the thing I really, really want to do.
Right.
But at the same time, I like Japanese culture and, this society is kind of like because I realized foreigners call us weird folks. Yeah. It means like as a Japanese comedian, there's a big chance
Okay.
to make fun of it or introduce our culture.
And you could be the guy. Like no one's done that yet.
Yeah, that's why I also want to organize a tour,
Yep.
Like in Kyoto, a famous place, like I want to write like a script, a tour. So I want to entertain Japan, It's my big goal.
You want to entertain? Well, yeah.
Sorry, entertain like foreigners,
Foreigners in Japan.
In Japan.
Okay.
Like, how can I say English? Like, I want to make Japan or amusement park or something like that,
Okay.
That's my big goal, Yeah.
Wait, so the people who are here in Japan to amuse them, like the foreigners or the international people, which by the way doesn't just mean white people and stupid dumb like Anglo expats like me. There are many different.
To be honest, white people are a minority as a tourist. Mainly, many Asian people come to Japan. Like Filipino, Indonesian, of course, Chinese, Korean, Asian people. I mean, I think white people's rate is like a less 10%.
Wow, that's the cool thing. And I guess the perspective that people who are watching this, it's not just some fucking American dude sitting in the audience that your goal is. There's many different people who are coming to your show.
Because sometimes, for example, maybe a month ago, like a 20 or 21 audience came to my place. It's a small gig, packed. No native English speakers.
That's great.
Yeah. But
I love it.
They can understand my Japanese because of course, sometimes my pronounce is fucking shit, but basically I speak slowly and then I don't use difficult words and slang, and that's why they can understand. Maybe 90%, 10% they just pretend,
And it's good, and I think that can be disarming for such people. Like when I came to Tokyo, and I want to be real, there are other comedy. I could have seen other English language comedy in Tokyo, and I want to be respectful. They're doing their thing. I respect any comedian who's putting on a show, but I don't want to see the Anglo-white American English Australian guy doing the comedy in Tokyo. I respect it, but fuck off. I've seen that enough in my time. I wanted to see this guy do it. I wanted to hear your perspective, not just the expat person. And I think that's very disarming. Like if you see if you're the Filipino, the Malaysian, the Southeast Asian, the Chinese, it's very disarming to see the Asian face talking about these things as well. It's not just like, I'm a fucking American in Japan.
I hope, you could come to Japan before. Because now, to be honest, here in Japan, white comedians like you try to organize everything, They are very arrogant.
I understand,
Not like everyone, but actually just few comedians try to organize everything. Other comedians, because just like follow him, Yeah. I had a many bad experience with them. That's why I decided to start my own show and creating my account and then try to organize the show by myself. Before, I like some comedians, but few comedians are very arrogant and then look down on Asian guys, and then they kind of like how can I say, maybe like organize everything,
Sure.
Like I found this Japan's market and I create the thing, I'm so cool, something like that. But you are different, Estonian people are lucky,
Maybe. Let's say, I mean, there's probably a few Estonian people that don't like me either for what I did, but we had our company in Estonia is me as the head. I don't want to say boss. That's not the right word, but me as the head, but everybody else is Estonian. But there have been, there are some people in the past, some people in the Estonian comedy community who didn't like me. And I wouldn't let them on our shows.
But actually, I understand, because you want to create a scene. Sometimes you should be dick, You should create rules,
Right.
That's why I understand.
For me, it's just quality.
Yeah,
it was
it's
just
very
like,
important to be a dick. But I think you're a good dick, In Tokyo, their dick is stinky and shit, and jacking off bukkake everywhere, many Japanese women and bukkake things like yeah. We need good dick,
It's
but
a balance.
unfortunately, here in Japan, actually, maybe. I mean, no one watch. I mean, like my comedian friends don't watch. That's what I can say, Yeah.
It's a balance. I get you.
Yeah.
What?
But I understand because I organize show by myself. Sometimes I organize comedy shows, invite comedians. I have to make a rule. Please, Otherwise, show doesn't work.
They have to be a certain level, right?
Certain level,
or
and not.
They don't have to be amazing, but like, are you doing it authentic? Are you not just saying some shitty things from your phone? Like, come on.
Yeah, because we have to decide the time. You should perform 5 minutes. You should 10 because you're good, but you're not so good. But of course, comedians don't like it. Why you 5 minutes?
You told me
8
what?
minutes?
Yeah,
Why?
and then I snapped them like.
That's why actually organizer or manager or like a director sometimes should be dick. I understand. What
sometimes, and I'm actually as I've grown on now in years, I'm enjoying that I don't have to be the dick as much anymore, and things are rolling, things are fine. And there are other things. And if you don't want to be in my group, that's okay. No problems. There's plenty of other things. Do your own thing. No problems. It's all very good.
Yeah.
Show respect. It's fine.
Yeah,
but if you want to be in my crew, this is how I run it.
It's just collaborate with them. It's good.
Sure.
You can create your scene bigger.
Right.
Yeah, but here in Tokyo, one guy, maybe I can say this.
It's okay. It's all right. First of all, they're probably not watching.
Yeah. One guy started a comedy club in Shibuya, it's a big place. I respect him because he created scenes.
Sure.
Yeah, as an organizer, as a comedian, of course, I respect him, but he's too much sometimes. And then, he tried to control everything, Yeah. So that's a problem. Yeah.
Yes, tough, man. I think maybe there might have been a time around the middle, like 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I don't know about that guy. I don't know the things. Maybe someone could have leveled that at me as well. He's trying to control. He's trying to do that. But
anyway, so
no. But things change. Like how to say, like because people, I don't know where I was going with this. No, I mean I've been through that, right? And it's a really it's not clear the boundary. Where is dick and where is just sticking to your thing and what you want to do. And I think at the beginning, I had to be more of a dick to say, no, this is comedy. This is what we want to do. This is how we do it. And then eventually people get it. And like in the end, I didn't need to, it's not so much being a dick. It's like saying, these are the ethics of our group. These are the values of our group. This is what we want from our comedy.
Yeah.
This is how our group is. If you're not in our group, it's okay. It's no problems. We're not going to, this is what we do. If you want to do something else, it's okay.
Yeah.
In the end, then everybody got it. And I didn't have to say it so much anymore. People just understood, okay, this is how Lewis's Comedy Estonia group works.
Yeah.
They're the best group, but they have this standard. If you want to do something else, it's all right, but that. So look, I get it, but I would say I'm enjoying not having to be that guy anymore. That I don't have to, things are rolling.
Yeah, but I think like a white dick is better than feminist white pussy.
Dude, that's a sound bite right there. That's the clip. Oh, cancelled. He's cancelled. Oh my
please
god.
cut it, I'm not joking.
We're deep in. How about we're an hour and 15 in? It's okay. No one.
Yeah. It's okay. You can cut this, but I want to share this. The reason why I hate that community because he's a king now. All other comedians follow him and then being dicked.
Okay,
and then one time before this pandemic, I mean, like I didn't have my YouTube channel didn't work, so I sometimes perform their community.
Sure.
So and I performed, and I didn't know that, but I did kind of talk about same topic with the king, before because usually local comedians talk about Japanese culture, bowing meetings. Of course, it's impossible, to how can I say to do different joke or different jokes.
Sure.
Sometimes we talk about same topic, Japanese salaryman.
It's normal. Yeah.
Seniority system. It's normal.
Sure.
But of course, perspective or how to talk about it is different.
Right.
But actually, my like a Japanese audience joke. Remember Japanese audience 3 times, and like a Japanese audience joke. Anyway, I make fun of Japanese audience reaction.
Okay.
it's not a punchline. At that time, I mean, like that night, I was a headliner kind of, and my joke did well. So, and then during my jokes, when I kind of talk about Japanese audience, I just pretend, imitate Japanese audience, and it's not my kind of just spontaneously I say that, and I say naruhodo. Naruhodo means I see in Japanese, and then many Japanese audience say naruhodo during the shows. Because they remember Japanese audience always believe, the
yeah, you're saying,
not laughing.
Really?
I see, really? Naruhodo. I really enjoy my performing, and I just say naruhodo like it's an adlib joke because I pretend like a Japanese. Then it's not my punchline. Just say what naruhodo, and at that time the king, like a king of dick, didn't dare. Actually. Their friends, their friends were there. After comedy show, we just hung out. Like, after comedy, we enjoy talking.
Sure.
Your set is great. Thank you. Yeah. Then I went home. Next morning, the king of dick sent me a message. You stole my naruhodo joke. And then, what the fuck? I know, sometimes this happened,
Was it really a good joke to begin with?
No.
Was it really the most original, unbelievable joke to begin with? No, motherfucker. It was the simplest cultural joke. Not simple, but I mean,
I mean, like, it's okay because it happened. Sometimes this happened. And then, it's my joke. Oh, it's okay, If his his subordinates or his friends realized I did the same joke, they should tell me.
Sure.
After the show, they say, "Oh, sorry," because it's spontaneous. I just pretend like the Japanese people. Oh, sorry, man, I never ever do that.
Right.
But they didn't say anything. They just
told him,
reported his boss, and then he sent me a fucking weird message. You stole my naruhodo joke. Hey, naruhodo is Japanese,
Dude, I would say many things. I've never accused a comedian of stealing
but
my
you
joke
realize
before.
why our white dick is stinky and jacking, dirty.
Sure, because he's insecure. I mean, first of all, the thing I would think about is was it really an amazing joke to begin with? If someone has a similar idea, really, did I really come up with the most unique, amazing punchline and now someone's taken it? No, guess what? It's a fairly on the surface observation.
Yeah.
No one has the right. I understood because in the beginning when we were starting our scene, there's. For me, I was the artist and the businessman and trying to balance those off. I understood very early that as an English speaker, I'm at the moment, I'm the most famous one because we're starting off and I'm here and I'm loud and I'm jumping around and all that. But I understood from the beginning, I will not be the most famous one. It is logical that in Estonia, the Estonian comedian will be more popular in the end, right? So I should accept that right now. I will have my place, but of course Sander will be more popular. It's gonna fucking happen, and it's good for business. It's good for my business that he's more popular than me. So if I'll have my own place, and, I've got my thing, and everyone knows who I am, and it's all right, and I don't have to worry about my ego. But great, Sander, you get more popular, and I'll sell your tickets, and we'll all make money. Of course, in a country, the local guy will be more popular eventually.
But I mean, like, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of weird that community, they, they should talk to me after the show. But why they didn't? Because at that time, I remember I stayed there like more than 1 hour, hanged out with them or other audience members, but they never told me. It's kind of fucking weird.
That's weird, man.
And then I think 2 times that happened. I didn't know that one joke because I always basically talk about Japan in Japan, like a meeting culture, because of course many people kind of talk about Japanese meeting culture, something like that. And then maybe I remember one joke is kind of similar to his joke, and 2 times it happened, like in the year. And then he told other comedians, I stole everything from him. And then before, sometimes, of course, he organized everything, but some comedian in charge of different shows,
Sure.
And then before that, they gave me sometimes like a headliner spot or longer set. But since that happened, all my kind of performance time is like reduced, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and it's kind of and the people see me like a weird way. That's then, but it's good. Then I decided, maybe I should do everything by myself.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
That's good. That's why I really say thank you to Dick-san, Mr. Dick, Yeah.
Dick-san. I like that. I would how to say, I mean, the first thing is, that's why when I came to Tokyo, I wanted to see your show because I have seen the foreign local dicks enough. And in fairness to that, I have been that foreign local dick. And like local dicks is a term Todd Berry made up that I use to describe just the guys in the scene, right? The local dicks. I
understand. If you want to create something new, you should be dick.
Not Dick, sorry, Dick. I'm reusing the term here. Todd Barry, he's a comedian, and he used the term for just the local crew, right?
Okay.
He just calls the local crew the local dicks. So I use that. I've seen the local guys enough. I didn't need to come to Tokyo to see the same foreigner jokes. I wanted to see you do it now, because the difference is, if the foreigner does it, it's hacky. But and I mean this with respect. When you do it, it's not hacky because you are the local. Okay, when the Westerner, when the American goes, oh, the fucking Japanese, the seniority system, and they don't, that's hack, right? I don't want to see that shit. But when you talk about your own culture, it's actually not hack. So you might say, okay, because some people are asking me, Meshida, how's his comedy? Do you like it? What's the style? And I'm like, I really like it. I really like what he does. But then I'll say, well, he talks about Japan and Japanese culture. And if I think about it, it's observations of Japan, right? If the foreigner does that, it's hack. Because it's the same Westerner observations. The Japanese toilet and the Japanese food is weird. And that's hacky. But when you are talking about your own culture, and I think about, for example, it's not hacky, even though it's almost the same bit. Right? It's different because you were talking about your own culture. Like I was thinking about for a while, you do the bit talking, or you just speak about there's the religions in Japan, and there was the Buddhism came. And there's Buddhism and what's the Shinto and Buddhism. And even that, to hear that from you is extremely different than to hear the Westerner talk about that in the same way, right?
Yeah, I agree. But on the other hand, sometimes, you can enjoy listening Western comedians making them in Japan, because you have a same perspective. You can learn something, both have a merit. But if you're a tourist, I definitely go to local comedian shows.
Of course.
Sorry, if I go to Estonia, I don't go to your show.
No. Of course you want to see that.
But now you're a friend, I go there. But if I don't know and see Estonian comedians speak English and introduce his culture, and the white guys living 10 years even though introduce Estonian culture, maybe most people choose, You
want to see the local. And I hate the foreigners too, don't get me wrong. Everyone knows me in Estonia. I hate the other foreigners. I don't hang out with them very much. And I don't I guess because, I was that guy. Well, at the beginning, it was different. Like I was saying early on, I was saying like about an hour ago that young comedians, what do they talk about? Sex and dicks and such poo and such topics, right? Easy topics. As a comedian, as a foreign comedian, yes, I also talked about cheap cultural things and that because I was a young comedian. And now I've done it, I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't need to see the same observation, but about Japan, right? So that's why I've been so interested in your act and so interested in what you do.
Oh,
because
thank you.
It's so much better to see it from you. It's an authentic thing. So.
Thank you.
Oh my God, this is getting good.
1 hour?
Yeah, we're going for a long time here. So you were saying that there's some authentic place that we're going to go have some dinner.
Do
you have time for this or not? Or do
yeah,
you gotta go do some
yeah,
things?
let's do that,
An hour and a half. So what
Yeah.
is this place you're taking me? He's taking me to authentic. He said you got a local place. What is this?
No, actually in Tokyo we have a famous local food.
Oh, okay.
Monjayaki. It's similar to like okonomiyaki. Have you ever ate okonomiyaki?
What is that? I don't know.
Osaka's food, famous food, okonomiyaki.
Okay.
Maybe you should Google it,
Yeah, I should go. All right. If only there was some Japanese comedian who could make funny sketches to tell me about these things.
Monjayaki is like look like a vomit,
It looks like vomit.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's good,
Okay.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
we're going to the vomit restaurant.
Yeah, vomit restaurant.
Vomit restaurant.
Yeah.
But it's local, typical.
Yeah.
This is where this fucking local guy is like, yes, this is local, eat this shit. And he's
Yeah.
just taking the piss out of a foreigner, yeah. And he's like, no, you eat it first. Come on, yeah. Yeah, no, you try. Come on.
But it's very famous,
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're going to go
yeah.
to just a little place in the corner somewhere.
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes to 10 minutes from here.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're going to have some of
walk.
this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do that. Whew. All right, let's do it. Let's get some food.
Yeah, thank you. So when you come to Tokyo, please come to my show. Yeah.
Please come to his show.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing. And I thought it was a very innovative and different thing that he advertises his show on Airbnb as that's where you can book the tickets. I never even in my life considered that would be and it's all, I never thought, that's fucking good. It's a great idea.
Yeah,
I
but
never considered
Yeah,
that.
now actually like I just only selling my ticket on Airbnb or some like a tourist site. But
Yeah.
actually I will start kind of selling in a different place too, because I want to get more audience.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
not
yeah.
more than that. But I'd never seen that. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
So you can go to Airbnb, you can see Meshida comedy. It's a
Yeah.
small little show. It's in a little bar, not far from the Skytree. But this is, and I say that with respect when I say it's a small show.
Yeah.
That's where the comedy happens. This is where
Yeah.
the real shit happens.
Yeah.
So please come and see him. And what am I saying? Please come and see. This guy's got 140,000 YouTube viewers. You're the biggest star here in this room right now, motherfucker.
Bottom I was a YouTuber, but yeah. But don't worry, even though you are only one audience, I have an experience performing 1 hour for only one audience more than 10 times,
Dude, that is the real comedy. Comedians know that that's the shit. All right, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for watching. This is this Retro Channel. Hope that you've enjoyed this talk about something completely different, but a very interesting insights on Japanese culture. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, thanks. It's great.
Yeah, man. Thank you. We're going to stop.